All right, so over the last year, there's been pretty much one mystery that's kind of plagued the entire community of Fish. Now, to be completely fair, this is kind of a mystery that hasn't really been spoke of a lot recently, and it's sort of because just there's been so much going on that we've kind of all just moved on from it. But as I'm sure you guys are sort of following along with me, the mystery in question that we are talking about here is the secret bunker located at Terrapin Island. For as long as we can remember, this area has pretty much been here. It's never been used, no matter how many secrets and mysteries have been added into the game, which of course we have the other secret bunker that did end up getting used to a certain extent, even though technically that mystery was never actually completed. But a lot of you that are probably watching this video are more than likely saying, Carbon, what is the point of this and why exactly are you pointing this out? And that now leads us into the most recent leaks on what exactly we might be getting this weekend. But for more context, I'm going to show you guys a couple of things that were announced in game that some of you may have seen and others of you may have missed it because maybe you weren't online. Now, I want to start this off by saying huge shout out to Scout the Invisible. He actually sent me every single one of the images. There was so many other of you guys that also sent me the images, so I appreciate it so much. Every time they do these announcements in game and you guys take screenshots, them to me on Discord, I appreciate it so much because once again, I'm not on the game 24 hours a day. But either way, if you notice, it says which island has the sea turtle, and this was sent out by Nick sometime last night. The following message after that says head there this weekend. Then shortly after that, he says and bring a sea turtle, where finally he mentions and no, it's not Sunstone. I have no idea who decided to say Sunstone. You are actually insane. Don't really know how you would connect Sunstone to a sea turtle, but let's carry on. If we go ahead and sort of zoom out from here, we can actually see that Terrapin Island is not only a literal sea turtle, which this might actually be a surprise to a lot of you guys, but yes, Terrapin Island is quite literally shaped as a turtle. It literally has the head right over here with the eyes being this sort of rock figure right here. Then you have the shell on its back, the little arms off to the side, and you can really only tell this if you're looking at the island from this angle. Looking at it from over here, you can kind of still tell that it's a turtle, but technically speaking, they did increase the size of this area over here, kind of like the little main town. So it doesn't really fully look like a turtle from this angle. But besides all of that, what fish can you get from Terrapin? That's right, a mythical sea turtle. Now, at this point, you're probably like, well, Carbon, that's great and everything. It could just be that maybe he's pointing that out because we need to get a sea turtle from Terrapin. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything is going to be changing at Terrapin. Well, for that, I have to show you guys another picture because this one was actually sent to me by Matt. It's actually a continuation of the messages that were being sent. And as you can see, this one says something is hiding below. What better place and what pretty much only place is there besides the bunker in order to go ahead and enter underneath Terrapin Island? Now, with all of that being said, it now leads us into the most recent leaks that we've gotten, which honestly look incredible, and it looks like they are sticking to pretty much the information that was shared over in the polls. So here we are inside of the leaks channel over on the official Fish Discord server, and we're pretty much starting off here on the 4th, so literally, I don't know, like 3-4 days ago. This image right here was posted by Pluto. In case you weren't aware, Pluto is one of the developers, specifically the one that creates pretty much all of the sceneries and maps that you guys see throughout the entire game. So all of these beautiful places that you've seen have been done by Pluto. And this image right here was pretty much like the introduction that was shared during the Q&A stage that was hosted, where they talked about pretty much the future of Fish. I'll be honest, I recorded the entire 2-hour Q&A. I didn't make a video on it because not really a lot of information was said inside of the actual Q&A besides the things that we kind of already knew based off of the polls. So there wasn't really any new information besides this image right here. But I held off on it just mainly because I knew that as we got closer to the update this weekend, we were going to be getting more leaks. So I just wanted to do it as one big video to prepare you guys when we had way more context on what was going on. Either way, the big conversation that was going on here is that this obviously looks a lot like the Cthulhu cave. Obviously, we know that Cthulhu is dead and gone. I mean, that thing is never coming back. So this has absolutely nothing to do with Cthulhu. And I'll be fully honest, I don't know how that bunker door is going to lead into this, but at the same time, it very well could. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bunker door. It could literally lead lead to Narnia for all we know. Like, there's nothing that's stopping just a regular bunker door from leading. I'm kind of like spending too much time on this. Anyways, the point is that at the end of the hallway, you can see that there is a door, which we more than likely know what is behind this door because of the next thing that I'm going to show you. Besides that, there also is this little NPC over here that's kind of hiding in the corner. I don't really want to say that that's going to be an NPC that's related to this entire thing. And the reason is because sometimes they sort of sneak in these NPCs into the images to sort of show like a scale, if that kind of makes sense. They did it also with the Fish Fright teasers where they kind of left an NPC behind because, again, they use it as a scaling thing. But who knows? Maybe this is part of a cinematic, or it could just be a tradition that they're starting where they sort of sneak in a placeholder just sort of for the memes. Now, as of recently, last night at 4 o'clock in the morning, we went ahead and got this image, which again leads me to believe this is what is behind those double doors from that hallway. As you can see right over here on the top right hand side, those are the double doors that we were previously looking at. And then you have this pool. That's basically what it is. It's just one pool, which leads us now into another thing that was sort of really emphasized during the Q&A stage that we had. And that is where they sort of want to rekindle that memory that we all have. Some of you may not know about this at all, but those of you that are OG players, remember the times where all of us as a community would sort of round up inside of Forsaken Shores and start chasing after the goldfish. Or if we go even further back, when every single one of us would round up inside of the snow-capped caves to try and chase after those colossal squids. Those were probably the most peak times of Fish, and that's because everyone as a community was coming together. There was people that were sharing Aurora totems, there was people that were sharing private servers, there was people that were constantly socializing around these spaces. It was just a lot of fun. And because all of these huge, large-scale islands are starting to come out, and there is such a wide variety of them, we've sort of lost that touch. Like, whenever you go into a private server or whenever you go into a public server, with any of your friends, 99% of the time, you guys are splitting up and going your own directions. So it looks like what they're trying to capture in this situation here is, number one, they're trying to make Terrapin Island relevant, which is a huge thing. Terrapin Island has sort of been this island where nothing goes on. You're either going there to buy a totem, or you're pretty much going there because maybe the traveling merchant's there. Besides that, the only other time that you would really visit it is if you're trying to be a completionist and go for maybe like a magnet rod or something. I don't know, dude. There really isn't anything fun at all to do inside of Terrapin. And this really makes sense because the way that this update was advertised is that it is going to be an expansion. It's not going to be a new island or a brand new area or anything like that. It's an expansion, which is literally what we're seeing right here. It's an expansion to Terrapin. I will say, man, the scenery is very cool. The street lights, the sort of like tight-knit little pond here in the middle, super cool. And we also sort of got a little bit of a teaser on what potentially is going to be kind of like the chaser fish inside of here. So we've now moved over to X, specifically Nate's page, where he went ahead and quote tweeted Roblox Fish News, basically talking about the leak that was posted this morning, where as a reply, he posted this little dragon emoji with 3 dots. So my guess at this point is that we're more than likely to get some type of new serpent or a dragon, I guess, of some sort inside of here as the new sort of like chaser fish. I don't know, dude. I'm kind of excited for it just because I do know that they emphasize so much about that whole community fishing thing. Dude, if you guys were with the channel during those times, then you know that, let's say, for example, the Forsaken Shores time, we at one point had 3 private servers that I owned personally, and we constantly had those in rotation, and people inside of my Discord server that were fighting to even get into these servers. Which, keep in mind, right? This was during the time when they never touched any of the player base inside of like the actual private servers, or inside of the servers, I should say, meaning that every single server at the time had a capacity of like 25 players. Then obviously at one point that was dropped down to 15, and then they brought it back up to 20, which is what it's at the current state. The point is that I had 3 private servers at any given time that were full of players, and that was super exciting to be able to jump into any of those servers, and not a single person in there was AFK. Everyone was just straight up having a community discussion. You had people that were leveling up, congratulating each other. You had people that were chasing after money and were persistently sort of like shuffling between each other on who would pop auroras so that way it would become profitable. And then of course, the big kicker here for all of my Easter egg hunters or my little secret hunters is that the plague is finally going to end on the bunker over here. Obviously, I'm just sort of assuming that that's where it's going to be because it just kind of makes sense. But I mean, at the same time, it could quite literally be anywhere. I mean, it could literally be down here for all we know. There ain't nothing going on down here. They could literally be, I don't know, just like the totem that you have to get, where you have to swim right under where the barrel is, which, as a matter of fact, I'm now realizing that the barrel is no longer there. That's crazy. Anyways, I'm talking about this part right here to the left side. If you swim under here, all the way down here, which I don't have anything to sort of keep me alive right now, but down there's a totem. Point is, it could literally be anywhere inside of therapy. I just sort of have fingers crossed that it's at the bunker because, man, we really need something done with that bunker. And for once in the existence of Fish, I would love for there to be at least one secret that is actually completed. It has now been like 2 months and your boy's gotten no information on the Gogabite. Even worse than that, it's now been like 9 months and we don't even have an answer to any of the other secrets. I just want one completed, bro. That's all I'm asking. Just one, please. One. I do greatly appreciate the dev string skin. I really do. But like, can I have more? Please? Now, additionally, from all of that, I will also show you guys this little clip right here for the emote wheel that is coming this weekend. So really excited for that. A lot of people are also really excited for that, just mainly because this has sort of been like the breaking point for a lot of different communities. There's people that are overseas that unfortunately do not have the ability to type in chat. So they've pretty much missed out on being able to do emotes. That is now moving forward a thing of the past. I will say, kind of unfortunate that it's being introduced after Fish Fright. This would have been really useful for the people that needed to do some of the goblin quests and stuff like that, but it is what it is. We're going to move on from that. We have things to look forward to like Fish Giving as well as Fishmas, which I would like to point out were also spoken of during the Q&A stage that we had. Nothing really too crazy was talked about besides the fact that Fishmas is going to be a lot bigger and a lot better. It's going to have a lot more stuff to do. It's going to be easier and more chilled, laid back. So that way a lot of you aren't sort of feeling that FOMO. And apparently I will also be Santa Claus, which is interesting, but we'll see how that works out. Apparently I will literally be the Santa Claus for the update. Moving on to Fish Giving, which is something a little bit more sooner. It looks like we may potentially be getting a Fish Giving island. That was sort of teased very briefly. We didn't get too much information on it. Obviously, we'll be getting more info on that as we get closer to Thanksgiving. In the event that you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving, totally understandable. Just think of it as a turkey update. That's literally what it is. Either way, interested to read the comments on this. Let me know your theories as per usual. These are always the best videos of the week. You guys get extremely creative in the comment section and I appreciate it so much. With that being said, remember tomorrow morning we'll be live for the update. And of course, I will have a full guide video out shortly after that, or potentially before. Not 100% sure, but we will see. Either way, the best way to know is to subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, and of course, drop a like on this video if you enjoy it. At the very top of the description, I also have a link to my Discord server. When you join, there is a videos channel in there that you can opt for a role, and it will notify you the moment that my videos go live. Either way, that's gonna do it for this video. Like always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.